Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So in today's video, I'm going to be addressing a rant, I guess you can say. So in the past, I made a video where I addressed hairstylist pet peeves, and then I switched it around and I made one that addressed client pet peeves. And then I said I was going to do another client pet peeve video, but a braider client version because it's different pet peeves. Basically, I'm just addressing things that clients don't like when receiving a braiding hair service. And also along with that, I've realized recently, well, I've always noticed, but there's a lot of hate in the black braider community, like a lot of hate towards black braiders and black stylists. So I want to address that as well, and I was originally going to do that as two separate videos, but I figured they kind of go hand in hand, so I'm going to address all of that today. So like I said, I know the hate isn't new, but I feel like it's been more prominent lately, unless it's just been brought to my attention more. But I like watching a lot of hairstyles horror stories and client horror stories and stuff like that, and watching those, I realized there's a lot of people who just don't trust black stylists anymore for a number of reasons, so I wanted to address them. I'm not necessarily saying that I agree or disagree, because honestly, it depends, but I just want to address them. So here are my opinions and my takes on these comments, I guess. Alright, so there's no particular order here, it's just the order that I have written down, and I'm going to be flipping back and forth, because like I said, I was originally going to make this two separate videos. But anyway, let's just get into it. Okay, so the biggest complaint that I've noticed is clients complaining that their braiders are not licensed. Okay, let me just address this by saying this. I've gone to cosmetology school twice. I went to two different schools. Once was a vocational school that I went to while I was in high school, and then the second one was just another school that I went to just to complete my hours. So with that knowledge, I can assure you that if you are going to an unlicensed braider, or a braider who is not a licensed hairstylist or hairdresser, if they had gone to school and gotten their license, their work would be no different. Cosmetology school does not teach braiding. Cosmetology school does not teach braiding. They don't teach braids, they don't teach locks, they don't teach sew-ins, crochet styles, any type of natural hair or black hairstyles. They do not teach. The closest thing they would teach is relaxer, because it's a chemical and you need to be licensed to work with chemicals in hair. But as for natural hairstyling, there is none of that in school, so getting a license would not have changed your braider's work whatsoever. So calling them out for not being licensed is not a valid complaint. It does not mean that they are any less professional than someone who did go to school. It really does not make a difference in this natural hair field. I just really want to address that. I personally am a licensed cosmetologist, and I can tell you that going to school did not help the work that I do today. It helped me in doing things like coloring hair and cutting hair and, like I said, relaxers or highlights or other things like skincare and all that stuff. But as for braiding, which is what I do more than anything, my license does not help me with that. So do not call out a braider for not being licensed. It does not mean that he or she is not doing a good job at their work. It would not have changed the game whatsoever. That is not a valid complaint. I just want to stand up for all my braiders out there. I got you guys. So since we're on that topic, I'm also going to mention another common complaint, which is that braiders or natural or black hairstylists, I'm basically going to make this about braiding, because most of these complaints I've seen towards braiders more than anything. So a lot of people complain that braiders don't wash and blow dry hair, or they don't include that in their services. So again, there's a good chance that your braider is not a licensed hairdresser, which means that they legally cannot wash and blow dry your hair. Even though you may think that we are just doing hair, there are still laws that we have to follow if we are charging for our services and putting ourselves out there as a business. So we do have laws to follow, and a law is if you are not a licensed hairdresser, you cannot wash and blow dry somebody's hair. That actually does fall under something that you need to be licensed to do. So if your braider does not wash hair, that's probably why. And there's a good chance that they don't know how to blow dry other people's hair just because they can do their own. So honestly, you would probably be more unhappy if they did blow out your hair and mess it up than if they had just asked you to do it yourself and then come in with already blow dried. Me personally, I do wash and dry my clients' hair if they want. It's not included in my prices though, because most people prefer to do their own hair at home so that when they come and sit down, they can just get started, since braiding takes hours at a time anyway. So most clients already don't even request getting their hair washed and blow dry. And a lot of stylists that I know who do include it in their prices usually end up discounting their service, because a lot of people say they'll just wash and dry their hair themselves. So honestly, in most cases, it's not even that beneficial for a braider to provide the service. Obviously, I can't talk for everybody, but from what I know and what I've seen, most clients prefer to just have it done themselves so that it just saves time. But some people do prefer to have it done. So if that's the case, I would provide it. But if you're the kind of stylist, kind of client who would prefer to have someone wash and blow out your hair and your braider doesn't do it, honestly, I would say just go to a different braider. I don't see the point in calling out a braider and being like, oh, they're not a good stylist because they didn't wash my hair and they didn't do this and they didn't do that. If it really means that much to you, just go to somebody else. There's no need to force your braider or your stylist to do something that they don't provide. If they don't provide, they don't provide it. One thing I cannot stand is when clients or customers or in any field, I can't stand when somebody complains about a business not providing a certain service when you can just go somewhere else. If you go out to eat and you really want to have cheesecake as a dessert and the restaurant you happen to go to doesn't serve it, do you go and complain to the entire restaurant that they don't serve cheesecake? Wouldn't it make more sense to just go somewhere that does serve cheesecake if it meant that much to you? So it's the same concept. If your stylist or the stylist you choose to go to does not provide a service that you really, really wanted that badly, it would make a lot more sense to just go to somebody who does rather than waste your time complaining to this stylist about what they don't do. So long story short, if they don't provide wash and blow dry, it's probably for the best. They either can't do it because they're not licensed or they're not comfortable with it. That is just their choice. You can't complain about that. So I don't agree with that pet peeve at all either. All right, another complaint that I see that I am sick of is when people say things like, this braider charges so much for this service and they don't even include the hair. I hate when it's worded like that, when you say they don't even include hair. They're making it sound as if we're charging for something we're not supplying. You can't just assume that because we don't provide hair with our service that you're automatically being overcharged. That means that you're just being charged for whatever products we are using or however long our service is or what we think that our labor is worth. Everybody charges different prices. So again, if you don't agree with the pricing or it really bothers you that much that they don't provide the hair, go to a stylist who does. There is always a stylist out there that provides exactly what you're looking for. So if the one you happen to go to does not provide it, go somewhere else. Don't complain to that one braider about it. Don't force someone to beat down their prices for you. Don't force someone to provide something that they don't provide. It is every stylist's right to provide or not provide what they do and don't provide, as long as they're not charging you for something. So just don't assume that not including hair automatically means that my service is expensive. And again, with my personal experience, I don't include hair in my prices, but I do give the clients the option of me getting the hair for them. But most of my clients already have their hair. Most of the time when my clients are booking with me, they'll be on the phone actually saying, and I already have the hair. A vast majority of my clients have their own hair and I don't even tell them whether or not they need to have it. So it's very few of them who would actually ask me to get it, and I'll just add that to the price and I'll charge exactly what I pay for it in the store because I don't buy the hair wholesale. I buy it at the actual beauty supply store. So I don't profit off my hair. So the point is, most clients do have their own hair anyway. So if the hair was included in the prices, I'd most likely have to take it out. So it's the same concept. So again, if it's that serious, you just go to somebody else. But honestly, buying braiding hair, like of all things, braiding hair is the easiest type of hair to find unless you wanted some outrageous color. But it is so easy to buy hair. Like, just add it to your shopping day when you go grocery shopping or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it really that much of an inconvenience to buy your own hair? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. I feel like people think it's a lot more complicated than it is. A lot of times people are like, can you get it from me because I feel like I'm going to buy the wrong one. I usually tell people just buy the cheapest hair they have. Because crochet hair costs more, weave hair costs more, any other kind of hair costs more. Just buy the cheapest hair they have and it will be braiding hair. But pre-stretched. Please get pre-stretched. Okay, I'm going to get off this. But yeah, that's another one that I disagree with. I don't think there's anything wrong with a braider saying to bring your own hair. So along with that, another complaint that I see is braiders telling their clients to bring their own products. Like shine and jam, edge control, combs. If that really is a thing, then yeah, I definitely agree that that's a bit much. As a braider or as a stylist, you can't tell your clients to bring the products. Then I mean, obviously, I would say what are they paying you for, but obviously they're paying you for your work more than anything, but you definitely should provide products as well. Your client should not have to go to the store and buy every single thing that you have to use. I think that is ridiculous. I don't personally know any stylists who have done that, but I have seen people complain in comment sections and stuff saying that their stylists have told them to buy their own products. I think that's ridiculous. I hope that's not really a common thing. I hope that's just like a rare thing. But even if it's just one client doing that, that's a little ridiculous. So yeah, I definitely agree that that's a bit much. So that should not be an issue. I'm sorry, I can't stand up for the braider who does do that. So I hope that is not a common thing. Okay, this is a small one, but another complaint that I see is that stylists work out of their house. I don't know why this is even a complaint. That's a very common thing, and obviously I took that personally, but whatever, I got over it. But yeah, if you're a braider, again, like I said, there's a good chance your braider is not licensed because they don't need one. If all they're gonna do is braid hair, then they can't work in a salon, because you do need a license to work in a salon. Because if that salon were to get inspected and an inspector came in randomly and you're there without a license, you can't just be like, oh no, it's okay, I only braid hair. That wouldn't fly, and the whole salon would get fined for having an unlicensed stylist in their shop. So if your braider only does braids and they're not licensed, then it makes perfect sense that they work out of their house, because that's more legal than actually going to a shop. I know the laws are different with all states, but I do believe that that is one that is covered in at least most of the states, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know at least in my state, you can't be in a salon without a license, or at least being a cosmetology school teacher and having a student and having a temporary license. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with working out of your house as long as you make the environment as professional as possible. Don't have kids running around, don't have pets running around, don't have, loud noise or a family coming in and out. Like, you want to make sure that you have a private area where it's just you and your client, so they don't feel like they're in somebody's house. But I mean, basically, as long as that is all covered, I don't really see what the problem with working out of your house is. I really don't get it, especially since the pandemic. Like, working out of your house is so common, it just makes more sense. So I don't know why that's a complaint, but obviously I'm probably taking that personally because I work out of my house. But you can definitely be professional and work at home, but that could be a whole video in itself. All right, moving on. Like I said, I'm going to be flipping back and forth because I have two separate lists that I'm going between because I was making this 2 videos. Okay, so this next one is policies as a whole, but I'm going to have to break that down because that's a big one. I know a lot of clients, especially lately, have had an issue with the fact that hairstylists and hair braiders have policies, and I really don't understand why. Late fees and no-show fees and deposits, that has always been a thing. But I feel like ever since, I don't know, like recently, I feel like people, I don't want to generalize it, but I feel like a lot of younger clients have an issue with this. And this is something that has been going on. Like, it is perfectly normal for your stylist to take a deposit in order to hold your spot. And I've gone on about this so many times, I'm not going to get into it now, but long story short, it's just for that stylist security. So if you were to suddenly not show up or anything, they're not completely at a loss. It's just to secure them as a stylist, We're not just here trying to steal your money. But what I do have to agree with, one complaint that I saw was someone said that their stylist charged a deposit and it wasn't... I hope you guys aren't hearing everything that's going on outside. Yeah, one complaint that I have seen is that someone said their stylist charged a deposit and it wasn't added on to their fee. So let's say they got a service that was $100 and they charged a $25 deposit. That should mean that the client is only going to pay $75 at the time of their service because they already paid $25, but this stylist charged an additional $100. So they charge a whole separate fee to hold the spot. I don't agree with that, because what's that money really for? That money is just so that if they don't show up, you're not out of $100, you're just out of $75. It's still a loss, but not as much of a loss. That's the point of a deposit. But yeah, some client apparently charged that as an additional fee. So I don't agree with that. I don't really think that's necessary. I think that's kind of robbing. Maybe there was a reason behind it, but I can't think of what it is. So I definitely agree with that being an out of line thing for a stylist to do. But besides that, it makes perfect sense to charge a deposit. And I agree with no-show fees. Like, I couldn't agree with no-show fees more. That is the worst thing that could happen to a stylist. And also late fees I'm kind of iffy about. Like, I agree with them and I disagree with them for different reasons. So it depends, but that's another thing. Like, policies as a whole could be a whole separate video, and I've addressed them so many times, so I'm not going to get into it right now. But there is one that I just found out about, and I don't know if this is a new thing or what, but it's a squeeze-in fee. So basically, if a client books last second and the stylist has to squeeze them into their already booked schedule, they have to pay extra. I don't really know how I feel about that. Honestly, I'm not a fan of it. I feel like, okay, so they charge the fee because you're technically inconveniencing the stylist by squeezing yourself in. But I feel like as a stylist, if squeezing in that appointment is going to mess you up, you shouldn't squeeze them in. If that client lost their chance at getting that spot, that's too bad. It happens, but it is what it is. Don't allow a client to come in and then it's going to screw up the rest of your day, but be like, well, it's okay because I charge a squeeze-in fee. Because now you're not only inconveniencing yourself, but you're inconveniencing all the clients that you have after that person because you squeeze them in and now it's setting you off. That's actually why we charge a late fee, because if you show up late and you mess up the day for all your other clients, now those clients deserve a discount. So the deposit or the late fee goes towards that client's discount so the stylist doesn't lose. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like a squeezing fee is ridiculous. I feel like I'm 100% against squeezing in clients. I've done it before and it never works out. I feel like if it's going to inconvenience you, just don't take the client, and the client's just going to have to take that loss. You know what I'm saying? Or go to somebody else who does have time or whatever. But if they lost their chance and they didn't book in time, that's it. So I think a squeezing fee is a little ridiculous. I don't really see the point of it. Don't squeeze in clients. I don't agree with that. So that one, I'm going to have to take the client side. Did I address everything already? There's a lot of things I wrote down twice. I think I must have forgotten something, but that's all I have written down so far. And then the last one I have is like, it's a really little thing. It's just holding hair. I've seen clients complain that their stylists make them hold hair. So like back in the day, it was very common for your braider to give the client the hair to hold, and the the client would be separating the hair and handing it to the braider, and they'll braid it in. I'm so glad that's not a common thing anymore. It really shouldn't be. I do not like the idea of having your client do any type of work. So yeah, I definitely understand that being a complaint. It's not something that I've seen too often, but I have seen little complaints about it. So yeah, there's that. Definitely get a braiding rack or something else. Don't make your client do any work. Like, getting your hair done should be a relaxing feeling. You're supposed to enjoy that. I'm supposed to be able to sit on my phone or just listen to music or just fall asleep. I shouldn't have to hold the hair and pass it to you as a client. I think those days are done. That's not a common thing anymore. I really feel like I'm missing something, but I guess I'll have to do a separate video, but I've been talking long enough anyway. But these are the points that I've noticed that are being complained about a lot in the braiding community and black stylist community. So I just wanted to address that and give you guys my thoughts and my opinions on it. So like I said, there are some things that I do agree with. So as a whole, I do feel like there are some braiders who definitely do need to be a little bit better when it comes to those types of things. I feel like there definitely are some stylists out there who definitely don't take their work as seriously as they should. So I don't have this written down, but I know another complaint that I've seen, which I also do agree with, is when the stylist is just, generally putting it, just unprofessional. Like, when they work out of their house, a lot of times they're not ready in time when their client gets there. The place is a mess. That's something I want to go into in a separate video. So I think I might do that separately on how to just be professional even though you work at home. But yeah, you still gotta be on time. You can't make your client come in and then sit there waiting for you. Don't make them wait in their car. I've seen a story time like that where a stylist actually had their client waiting out in their car because she was like, "Oh, I'm not ready. Can you just go back to your car and wait?" I've seen things like that, and that is ridiculous. Honestly, guys, I think I'm gonna have to do a part 2 because I know there are more things that I want to address, but I don't have it all written down. And I can see that I've been talking a lot. But these are the most common complaints that I have seen in the black stylist and braider community. So I really wanted to address that and give you guys my take on it. But like I said, there are some points that I feel like I can make it into a whole separate video, and I just don't want to be rambling because you guys know I do that a lot. So I'm just going to end off here for now. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Feel free to share any comments or add to this list, or, share your opinions. Just don't get too crazy about it. Let's be friendly and mature and adult about this. But yeah, feel free to start a discussion down in the comments. But yeah, that's all from me for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful, and thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.